just me and my guitar.
Hey, what's happening guys? Mark back in the workshop on Mark's Aquatics. We're going to give this little moss tank a trim up today, and because if you're looking amongst it there, I didn't give it a water change yesterday, and within literally 24 hours you can see lots and lots of streamers coming off here of hair algae coming off of there, and obviously it's you've got some phosphates building up in the water. Could be a few little dead little worms and stuff in amongst the clumps of earth that the moss came in on, which I did plant in there as well. So we've got a little bit of a nutrient outbreak in there, which this which the hair algae is feeding on. It's not a big issue. We get this in lots of new tanks that we start up. I've got a little bit in the big aquascape as well at the moment, as well as some other little different bits and bobs which are growing in there. It's all new tank syndrome, but we can sort these things out and make them a little bit better by giving them a trim back, and we can cut out the infected areas with our scissors. I want to shape up this sphagnum moss at the back here, and the star moss and the fairy moss, as I've been led to believe it's called. It all needs a bit of a trim up, so I'm going to go in there now carefully. It's absolutely freezing out here today. I'm not sure of the temperature. I'll give you a rough idea of what's going on. The old laser pointer out there. There you go, it's 10.9 in there. And the pond temperature is 7.4 at the moment, so it's holding a good little temperature in there. Not bad at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get the scissors out, and I'm going to trim all these decaying bits off. Sorry, not decaying bits. There's a couple of little bits of dye off here, which I'll snip out and remove. Nothing else seems to be dying anywhere else. Even right down along the base there, it's growing up from the bottom right up through there as well, which is interesting. All the other plants, there's some little seeds and things which are germinating in there as well. As you can see, these little areas of green, that's just the two little first leaves that come out and part like that before you get the main plant growing out. So I'm not sure what they are at the moment, but I'll keep my eye on them. In fact, I might end up trimming them off in a minute, because I really just want the moss. But there's quite a bit up the top here as well flowing around. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop as much off as I can, trim everything back as best as I can, and then drain the tank right down, just so the fish have got enough water there so I don't have to move them out. And then what we'll do is, obviously when we're siphoning the water out after we've cut everything, we'll suck all the bits out with the siphon action later on, which is great. Now what I'm going to use are these JBL scissors that they kindly sent me, the Wave, which are absolutely amazing. When you hold them at that angle, you can cut nice and level along the base and get a nice angle instead of having to shove your hand right down level and in amongst it. And they're absolutely fantastic. Nice high grade stainless steel, ProScape range. And if you haven't got some of these in your armoury, I'd suggest you go out and get some, because they're absolutely fantastic. And I'm also going to be using the long thin tongs as well to pull out any bits, also in the JBL range as well. I don't know if you can see that there. It's a bit of a funny light, so I'm doing this in the evening, so we're working. It's a little bit glary up there, I'm sorry, but lighting is not brilliant in the shed. Lighting's not great in the workshop of a night time, and we do tend to get a bit of glare. And because I've got the hood up on the tank here, you've got a bit of that blue hue coming through there, but not to worry. Right, I'm going to get in there now. I can just show you what I'm going to do. Just going to slowly just go down and nip all these little growing tips off. Right, that's the pump turned off. I just forgot to do that. That's off. That's off now. So I'm going to unplug that to make sure it doesn't come on, because we don't want all the moss bits getting sucked in amongst the filter media at the back. Right, we're getting there again, and I'm just going to trim all these little bits off. It really has grown fabulously, this moss. And by doing this, guys, we're going to encourage that growth. That side growth will really take hold, and we'll get lots of, pull it all forwards like that as well, so we can see what we're doing when we siphon all this out. Some of that hair algae at the back there as well. It's fantastic because the moss has actually grown out the water at the top as well. And now we can get some shape into this. And minding our little fish as well with them scissors. So by doing this, we're encouraging growth, we're cutting off the old and so the new can replace it. And that should thicken it up nicely. Just going to roll the old sleeve up and come in from another angle here now. And I don't think these little guys have bred at all, so we're not going to be disturbing any eggs, because I haven't seen any action at the moment. So very therapeutic doing this, guys. It really is. It's one of my things that I love to do with an aquascape, and that's trim things up, do the old manicuring. It's like manicuring the hedges in your garden, it is. Anyway, you can see what I'm actually doing now. Just slowly going over everything, wafting the scissors around. That's going to be loosening up anything that's trapped, springing up new little heads that I've missed, that we can go back and just nip off and tidy it up. You can see one of those new little shoots there, you see? Just got it on the scissors. That's a new little plant that's just grown. Right, so I'm just going to speed things up now, because you're not going to want to see me do the whole tank. Ah, well there you go guys, that's a lot better now. We're all cleaned up. Just giving Mr. Man there some a bit of food as well, and he's popped out. But the old minnows there are looking really nice. Everything's been cut back now. Taken a couple of inches off of there. That was at least 2 inches of growth we had on there. And as you saw when I was filling it up on the speedy footage there, that piece down here I sucked out. I just took a little piece out of there because it was grown down over the rock, and I was just taking a little bit more of the rock away so we could see a bit more of that little stone down there, sorry. And that's really doing well. Temperature of the water there. Little minnows love chasing this little laser pointer around. Fun you can have with minnows with a laser pointer. Anyway, it's 10 degrees in there, and the pond outside temperature is 7 degrees this morning. Now you might think, why is that 10 degrees and the pond 7? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because we got a pump running in the back, and that little pump may be small, but it's pushing out a fair old couple of degrees of heat there, which is just keeping it at 10 degrees, which is fantastic. So it's not going to go down below. These little guys can go down about 5 degrees before they start getting a little bit chilly, but they will go down as far as 5 degrees centigrade. So that little pump there has been keeping it at a stable 10 degrees to 10.1, even though the pond temperature is 7 degrees. Stop feeding the koi now, they're all under the sheets, nice and warm, and wintering up now. So yeah, it's looking really nice. We're taking quite a lot of this away at the front here, as you saw. I bet you thought, oh, he's going to cut the fish, he's going to cut the fish. Well, when he had the pipe out, you were going, oh, he's going to suck the fish up the pipe. And then it's funny when you watch it on the speed footage, because it really looks like I could snip the fish quite easily or suck them up the pipe. But there was no danger of me doing that when I was going nice and slow. In reality, I was going nice and slow and making sure they're okay. So we got no trouble there. But I've taken a lot of the sphagnum moss at the top there, chopped a lot of that off, given that a nice little shape back. We've chopped this back now nice and level. And some of the star moss as well, we've cut that back, so that hopefully will encourage more growth. It's really surprised me, that star moss, because I thought that's the one that was going to die back the quickest, and it hasn't shown any signs of dying off yet, which is great. It's changed colour slightly, but this is still a lovely vibrant green down here, and all up on the other mosses, at the fairy moss I think we've got down the bottom here. And that's looking really nice. So far so good guys with the little moss tank. So far so good. Anyway, there's a little update there on the little mossy verse. A few of you have been in touch from all over the world really, and you've asked me about different mosses from different areas of the world. And to be honest with you, I've said to a couple of you, there is thousands and thousands of different types and there is so many different types of mosses and liverworts. It's unreal. So like I said to one of you guys out there, I can't remember your name now, sorry, but I think the best thing to do is, if you obviously take a picture of wherever moss is where you are, and then you can either Google that, or you can look through the types of mosses that do grow. Just Google mosses that grow around your area, and you may be able to make a positive ID on that, and then try it out. But these mosses are growing fabulously so far, and I think it's all down to bringing that root system in with that chunk of ground as well, which they're used to growing in. And I did that with all of these. They're all on their own chunks of earth when I put them in, apart from the some of the moss up the top here, which is actually on a piece of dead wood. So it's getting nutrients from that dead wood. I have been putting in liquid CO2. I'm in the UK, I use that stuff here. Microbe Lift I've been using. Bio CO2 fertilizer, which is fish and shrimp safe. So I've been using that, but not a massive dose of it, just a small, not even, I'd say under the half the recommended dose I've been using, just to be on the safe side, because as we know, mosses tend to grow very, very easily and they don't need huge amounts of nutrition, so they just like the light, and they've got the earth that they came on, so, and they seem to be doing fantastic. Anyway guys, I hope you like that little trimming back and little chat on the moss tank. It's coming on fantastic. Touch wood, it'll carry on doing so. We're going to see now next couple of weeks to a month what this trimming is going to do to the growth. Whether it's going to give it some nice side growth or it's just going to carry on growing up. We shall see. Time will tell. Anyway guys, thanks for tuning in, and if you're new to the channel, pop back, have a look at the other videos. I've got loads of different videos on there now, and you can catch up with this from start to finish, and up to this one which is up to date today. If you fancy replicating one of these tanks, like, share and subscribe if you would be so kind. It'd be great to have more of you guys on board, and as always, you're all stars. Look after yourselves, take care, and I'll see you on the next edition of Mark's Aquatics. Bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.